What's going on, YouTube? Evan here with Cloud9 Aquariums. Man, oh man, are we getting dirty today. This is just ridiculous. As some of you already know, I got a ton of new plants. We've been doing some rescaping, aquascaping, all of the above on this tank. I just actually finished doing the 30 tall. Really stoked to show you guys what I got going on. But now, because I got a bunch of new plants laying around, I'm not kidding, dude. I got 3 buckets full of plants right now floating. But seriously, so I'm redoing this tank right now. But I wanted to kind of show you guys how to prep new plants. Now, when I mean new plants, you can be existing plants when you're moving around, but prepping new plants, prepping them by getting them ready to be replanted. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you my lap. This is what I got going on, okay? It's a good thing to have a tray. You can use a cookie cutter sheet thing, whatever you want to call it, cookie sheet, I guess. You can use, I'm just using like a little plastic lid for some box I found. Doesn't matter, just something waterproof. Obviously, you can set your crap on. Something with a lip is awesome because then you can keep the water on it and off your floor. You may notice too, I also always put towels down when I'm working, especially on carpet or anything like that. It just keeps it all nice and dry. Definitely, you're going to want to have a trash can nearby and a couple rinse buckets, because when you get new plants, first thing you want to do is float them and rinse them. Major thing you're doing with that is you're going to be getting off the any kind of algae that's stuck to them, any kind of sediment, dirt from the shop's tanks, and one of the other major things is snails and eggs. So when you don't even just like dip them in there, I'm talking you want to shake that around, get some stuff off it, okay? Even use your hands to just kind of brush it off. Unfortunately, I didn't buy anything that was in a pot, but I do have something rooted, so I'm going to start with that. Okay, so let's say this jungle vile right here, which is actually an existing plant from my tank. Let's say that this was in a pot. Okay, the first thing you would do, you would remove the pot from it. You don't plant plants in the pot, okay? Those are only there for when they're being grown, by a grower. But once you get it in your tank, you're going to take that pot off. That pot's just going to hold the roots into a ball. It's actually going to kind of prohibit the roots from growing out and then really getting into your dirt or gravel or whatever kind of substrate you're working with. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to want to remove that basket, obviously, and then that rock wool, so that fuzzy stuff that's all around it, you're going to cut that off and get that out of there too. You don't want any of that. Okay, so say you did all that, right? Now you're going to see a nice root ball. Depending on the species of plant, but if it's something hardy, you got a big root ball, this is actually going to be kind of hard to plant. And so what we're going to do is I don't want to chop off too much, obviously, because you want to definitely have a solid root system to go. But you're actually just going to kind of snip it. So I got something to grab onto, something to definitely put in the dirt. It's not going to hurt it at all. But what it's going to do is, now that I clipped this, it's got all these new fresh ends. These are actually going to start growing like crazy now. It's actually going to promote root growth, because before it's just kind of slowly going out. It's got a nice root system. The plant thinks, oh yeah, I'm doing good. Like I can slow down the root production. No, now you kind of freaked it out. So now it's going to have to really grab on, and that's good because when you stick the roots down in there, that's good and dandy. But it's not actually grabbing onto any of that soil or any of that gravel. So you really want to just let it spread out and get a good grasp of that. So definitely new growth is good, especially because it's going to grow roots that are better for your actual system. So I'm going to go ahead and float this now. Before I do though, I just want to tell you guys, this is actually one common beginner mistake, and it goes for not just leaf plants like this, but stem plants, any kind of plant. I know a lot of us say, especially jungle vile, that it's a really hardy plant, but if you're going to plant this back in your tank, yes, when it's fully rooted and everything like that, when we say you can hack this stuff back, same thing with baby tears, we mean that you can do that after it's been rooted. So when you're first planting it back, you want to leave as much leaf growth on it as possible. Okay, so don't hack this back. Wait until it's actually fully rooted, because the more leaves you got on it, the better chance it's going to root itself and really be able to capture your light. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and throw that out. Now let's say you got something like this, some dwarf sage. Okay, these plants are connected by the runner. The first thing you want to do when you're going through new plants is, if you're going to see any algae on it, you're either going to pick the algae off or you're going to pull a leaf right off. Okay, it's not going to hurt it too bad. You're definitely going to want to look for any kind of broken leaves like this. You're just going to pull off. You can either pull off the whole leaf or just half of it. I can pull off the broken half because it's just going to rot away and make your tank dirty. So again, I'm just going to go through, kind of either scrape any kind of algae you got on it, or just remove any broken leaves. And that's kind of just cleaning the plant up. And again, here I'm just going to kind of snip some of these roots because I got a lot of roots down here, and I want to get some new growth going on it. And something like this, where you have two plants connected together, if one of them's a parent plant and the other one's a lot smaller, you're going to want to definitely leave them connected, especially to the smaller one. But because these are both the exact same size, I'm going to go ahead and just snip it right there. Now I got 2 full plants. It's a lot easier to plant them independently. I can plant them where I want. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And again, I'm going to just kind of trim these roots off. One thing you don't want to look for is any kind of rotting, especially on rooted plants. You want to check and see if there's any rotted roots off. You don't want to cut those off. Those aren't going to do you any good, so you might as well just get rid of them now. But again, once you're done with it, just throw it in your float bucket. I've already rinsed those. I like to rinse them, clean them, and then float them afterwards, okay? Now, we're going to talk about bunch plants. This is probably the most common thing you guys are going to get. By bunch, I mean you'll usually see them with this little weight here. Now, here's a beginner mistake. This is what I don't know why, what gets in people's minds, that because there's this weight and it looks great and they're just sinking at the bottom, it looks cool like that. Well, guess what? It's not going to grow like that. Okay, do you see them there? They still don't have roots yet. This is how they bought them. They've probably been floating in that tank that you bought them from for a while and still haven't grown any roots because you're just sucking the whole life out of it. So you want to get rid of this. You don't want this in your tank. It doesn't do you any good. So now look at how many plants you have. You can spread this out. Because you don't want, if there's like 15 plants in here, if you had 15 plants all clumped together, you're going to kill off the majority of the plants. You might have 2 of them actually live out of the whole thing. So usually when it ends up happening is they end up just rotting away. Okay, so now you got this. You're going to open the stem up and you're going to pull out 1 stem. Imagine that. Alright, so get rid of these leaves. Now when you're looking at stem plants, something like this, you're not going to see any kind of roots on it. It's just kind of hanging out. One thing you're going to want to think, okay, I'm going to be planting this down. So let's check the root tip. Okay, stem's fine, it's not rotted away, so that's strong, so I don't need to cut that again. If this was rotted and if it was really soft and you can kind of just smush it between your hands, I'm not sure if I can find any here because these plants are so great, but if you did find anything like that, you just want to cut it to where it's a fresh stem again, because that actual root, the actual stem right there that's kind of rotted away, that's actually just going to kind of prohibit the plant from actually getting the nutrients up in there, so you want to just get rid of that rottedness. Okay, now when you're going up the stem, you're going to think about how far it's going to go into the substrate. Now this is I'm probably going to plant about this deep. So these leaves are actually touching the substrate. So they're just going to get killed and broken and rot away. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pull these 2 leaves off. Boom. We're not going to need those. This still has enough leaves on the top, it's good. If there was only a couple leaves on it already, you might as well leave them. They'll probably just rot away once it's done, rooting in. But because this already has a good head on it, I'm not worried about it. I'm just going to go ahead and do that. So again, same thing, you're going to go through, you're going to want to remove any kind of dirt you see on it, obviously if you see any snails, or, oh look at this right here, some kind of, I don't even know, some kind of weird moss. I don't want it, so I'm going to go ahead and just toss that, because I don't know where it came from, what kind it is. It could be some kind of pest, so I'm not all about it. But again, so yeah, this is time consuming. That's why you get a chair, folks. Get a chair, sit down, turn on some good music, any kind of, relax, get in that chill out zone, light a candle, do whatever you gotta do. I don't care. Everybody's got their own thing. But turn on the TV, check out your plants, get them ready to go. It takes it takes a little time to prep them before, but you know what? They're gonna turn out so much better after you've done it. I'm not gonna bore you and go through all 20 plants right now because I hate when people do that, as you probably already know, because I make a point of telling you every time something annoys me. But alright, so there's that one. I'll save that bunch. Again, I'll show you another variety just so you can kind of see what it would look like on some other kind of plant. So these ones, again, this is a little bit more of a this other one is kind of a leafy variety. This one's definitely more of a stem. Now you can see this leaf is just actually broken off. It doesn't look like it is, but it is. My cat's jumping around like crazy. Sorry guys if she's hitting the camera and stuff. I don't even know. Don't even know right now. But again, so if you see anything broken, you're just going to break that off. This lower stuff will be fine. There's already some, I don't know if you can see, there's some little root buds coming off of that, so that's going to be awesome. That'll plant real nice. No dirt on that one. Again, go to the next one. This one's already got the leaves off the bottom. Everything else at the top looks fine. If you see any kind of dead leaves, you want to pull those off. If they're kind of spotted, and if the plant has a lot of them, you're going to want to just pull those right off. They're not going to do you any good. But again, these plants just look so great. I can't even find anything wrong with it to show you guys. So maybe I'll have to go to my local dealers and buy some terrible quality plants just to show you what it would look like from everybody else's perspective when you normally get plants. But so that's kind of how I do my new plants. Got a lot going on, but you know, I figured, well, I got a bunch of plants going in the tank right now, and I kind of want to give you guys a little heads up and some ways to really help your tanks out, especially when you're planting new plants. When you plant, it's the key. I'll do a whole another video on actually planting the plants, because, well, it's another video, and I don't want to bore you with a 20-minute long video, because nobody likes watching 20-minute long videos. So I'm gonna keep working on this tank. Definitely keep. If you haven't subscribed yet, obviously, we got tons of subscribers already, and I know you guys who already subscribed to me are sharing this channel like crazy. I really appreciate it. Definitely leave me some comments and stuff. Let me know if you got any questions. Inbox me. I try to get back to you. It's not always within the first hour, but you know, I'm busy, you're busy, but we'll hook up somehow. But for sure, definitely, you know, just interact. We all like to interact as a community. You know, if I can't answer your question, if you leave a public comment, some other people can too. No fighting though, man. I can't stand when people just like, I don't get it. There's no reason. We're all in this hobby together. You don't gotta down talk each other. You know, some people ask some interesting questions, okay, but just give them a nice polite answer, and we'll move on from that. All right, so because you wouldn't believe some questions I get, but not even fish related either. So seriously, let's keep this channel going. Definitely stay tuned for more videos. There's gonna be a ton this week. And you know, as always, all these videos are just kind of based to keep you and your fish tanks a little closer to Cloud 9. So take it easy, guys.